Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Marvel's Strike Force. Today, we have the data on the enemies that are going to be inside of Forged for Kiln Tower, or Forged for Fire, whatever they're naming it. You know, the Omega Red, Phoenix Force, Dark Phoenix release method next week. And I want to go over all of the enemies that are going to be in this, and this might help to guide you in which characters that you're going to want to use for next week's event, because some people might have been on the fence, of course, as to who they want a purple ISO. And we can kind of, even though we haven't played it in game, we can have a pretty good idea of what enemies are going to be on there and how difficult this is going to be. So if you're ready to go, everybody, let's boil this down. Now, if you do go over into the events section of the game, you can see Kiln Forged in Fire. I still have to say his helmet, the particle effects on his helmet is freaking awful. But again, it starts in 5 days, so that's going to be on Monday. And this is also going to be important for the next weekly event as well, which is going to require you to do progress in here. Actually, it is shown in here. The orb fragments are in here as well. So we can see the different milestones and the total shards that are given for Omega Red. And we have the image, which I'll show in a minute, which kind of references the different, like what floors you need to get to in terms of unlocking the character and whatnot. So there's actually a decent amount of training modules in here for newer players. So that's something, right? There's a lot of training modules because they've been really hurting. So that's 720 oranges, 10-8. Like that's a lot at like what's not even like the 1-star unlock. There's a total of 20 milestones, and that represents 20 floors. So in total, there's going to be 180 shards up for grabs. And towards the bottom, you can see some purple ISO stuff. It's, it's not terrible. There's like 400,000 purple ISO ions and some crystals and things like that. And this Crimson Hunt orb fragment is going to be required for next week's, I believe it's called Omega Training, I think, is the name of next week's event. It is in my data mines. And it's primarily to do with Forged in Fire. And there will be a leaderboard up for grabs that's going to give you Shadow King diamonds that you're going to be competing for, but like most people aren't, but just the top 1,000 or whatever it ends up being. So this is the milestone rewards here. They're pretty okay. I do want to reference this table once again, and I listed all of the enemies from floors 1 to 20, but I do want to kind of point out that essentially floors 1 to 10 is pretty non-consequential. Like it's going to be super piss easy, and I think the point of floors 1 to 10 is going to be to powering up some of your characters along the way. Some characters that you could charge up, like Sunspot, for example. You can still use Sunspot in the X-Men section using some extreme X-Men kind of combination, which some of you might have purple 3 anyways from Dark Dimension 8. But characters like Storm, even some cooldowns maybe to make sure they're ready and all of that stuff for 8. I don't know if that's probably the most things that you could charge would be Storm and Sunspot. I don't know if there's any like Avengers characters or A-Force characters that you would really need to bother with that. But even up to floors 13, it should be super easy to get the 2 yellow unlock all the way up to floor 13, and it doesn't really get challenging until floors 14. So 14 through 20 is really what we're going to be focusing on here in today's video, but I kind of want to showcase that at the start anyway. So this is my table. Yes, some people don't like seeing it in this way, and it's not super pretty. I didn't really bother much with floors 1 through 10, 13, or really. You can see it's pretty piss easy enemies. You have like, I don't know, defenders, you got some Kree shit going on, you got some Ravagers, you got whatever the hell this is. You got some Brotherhood, some old school Brotherhood, you got some symbiotes on floor 6. You have some Black Order on floor 7. You got some Rebirth on floor 8. You got like an Infinity Watch Guardians combo, I guess, in floor 9, and floor 10 is like some X-Men shit. So again, this is like pre-75, it's going to be super easy. And then starting at floor 11, which you can see here, let's zoom in a little bit further. It starts, even that's like a level 70. So this is like G14 kind of content. And this is where the traded stuff starts happening though. So you can see here with floor 11 is A-Force, and you got this. Again, I don't expect any of this to really be that hard. Floor 12, which is X-Men level 70, has Illuminati, I guess, with Beast and Dark Beast for some reason. Floor 13, Avengers, again, Multiple Man, Polaris, Moondragon, Doom, Abomination, Hulk, Green Goblin, Leader, Lizard, Vulture, right? Like again, this stuff, you should be overpowering this kind of content because it's super easy. So I do want to focus, however, on the level 95 plus stuff, which is going to be floor 14 and above, right? So just to be clear on this, you do need blue level 3. This should be more than easy as well. And this will get you up to 3 yellow here in this section, floor 14. 15, and 16. And on wave 1, this is the A-Force node. We do have Sasquatch, Wolverine, or it's Alpha Flight, right? Like the first wave is Alpha Flight. It's the full Alpha Flight team. And from my understanding, they should not have their game modes active here, so do keep that in mind. It's not going to have Alliance War unless they do something screwy. They should not have that. Wave number 2 is going to have Gwenum, Gwenpool, Ghost Spider, Ghost, and Gladiator. So Gladiator's probably the only big issue here. Again, because the game mode stuff isn't active, it shouldn't be that bad. But that's the first section for A-Force. I am going to be using Kahori, Wasp, and Miss Marvel Classic. Those are the 3 characters that I plan to use on 14 and again on 17 when I have to use A-Force again. Floor 15s for X-Men. You got, we have, it's like a mixture here, Marauders almost. Strife, Sinister, OG Emma, Omega Red, and then Wave 2, we have Dazzler, Emma X-Men, the hero version, Gambit and Rogue, and then Nightcrawler and Black Knight on Wave 3. So, I actually think that you could probably do this with Extreme X-Men if you have Sunspot powered up. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to do. Black Knight could be a small problem, but otherwise I don't see why you couldn't just go in with a Nightcrawler, Gambit, Sunspot combo, or even Forge, right? In somewhere in there, like you can only use 3 characters. Keep in mind, KYLN is a 3-person squad, but it doesn't look like that tough, or it doesn't look that tough. The enemies in here don't look that bad. Floor number 16 also doesn't look that bad either, right? Even though they're level 95 enemies. Wave 1, Sharon Carter, Maria Hill, Cap Sam. This is Secret Avengers. Coulson and Yo-Yo, which is super old. And then Wave 2, we have some Wakandans. Black Panther, BP Shuri, BP 10 million, the BCE or whatever, the Stone Age Black Panther, Shuri, and Okoye. War Dogs, basically, more or less. And so this doesn't look that bad either. So honestly, floors 14 through 16 look pretty easy. And so getting that 3-star for Omega Red shouldn't be all that challenging. So I guess we just need to focus on floors 17 and above. So 17 is going to start off, this is going to be level 100 G19. So the enemies do ratchet up a fair bit here. This is floor 17. A-Force, once again, I'm going to be using my Kahori, Miss Marvel, and Wasp. That's my plans anyways. And you do need them at purple 3. So I do want to mention this here. Purple 3 required, right? It says here that you do need purple level 3 from 17 onwards. So make sure that you make note of that. Wave 1 is Mr. Negative, Cloak and Dagger, Magic, Phoenix, and it's cut off here, Colossus as a tank here for that one. I assume that this is pre-Phoenix Force Phoenix, so it should not have a stat increase in this regard. So these are pretty old characters still. And then wave number 2 is Kang, 2 Titanias, and an Absorbing Man. But again, they're like pretty old characters compared to what we have now. So I just don't see this being that hard, right? You know, one thing that I do want to note, and when I say that, I was going to bring this up later, but I think it's worth bringing up now. So this is, I think this is node 19, but this might be really hard to see. We're going to zoom in. But on here, what you can see, this is specifically, so this is Nimrod on one of the future nodes. Hopefully you can see this. But you might be able to see that the enemies are modified. So there are stat modifiers that are in place for these nodes. And so, for example, this Nimrod has about 325% hit points. And this does happen from time to time on some of the other enemies. And so while the enemies themselves look easy, the point is that they're going to be buffed a little bit, particularly and especially in the HP field. But some of them actually do have speed modifiers as well. So if you think when you're playing this that something looks a bit fucky, it probably is, because they have internal stat modifiers, which you can only see actually through the JSON file. Sometimes, like for raids, you can see this on the web, but usually for events like this, it's not listed on the web, so you would not be able to see this without specifically looking at the JSON file. For floors 18, this is actually, I think, where I grabbed the Nimrod from. So this is the X-Men section, and once again, it's a level 100 G19 2 Diamond. And we have a Nimrod, Scientist Supreme, Omega Sentinel, Old Man Logan. This could be a pain, and we'll take a look at what stat modifiers Old Man Logan has. X23, Dakin, and then Deadpool, Deathpool, Gwenpool, and Pandapool. The pools, 4 pools, right? So it's themed a little bit there. Let's take a look at Old Man Logan, though. Should be below here. Let's zoom out just so I can scroll through there faster. Deadpool, no, we went too far. X23, Old Man Logan. So he's got a max HP modifier of 3.25, or 325%. So it's just the HP. There's no speed stat modifiers on here. Some of them do, particularly on the last 2 floors, do have some. I just wanted to double check. This is Deadpool with a focus modifier, apparently. Deathpool with a focus modifier. Gwenpool also with a focus modifier. And Pandapool with a focus modifier. So that brings us to floor number 19 over here. And so floor number 19 is Avengers, right? And I do want to stress that Jean Grey and Hercules are going to have all of their abilities active in the text. All the text stuff is going to be active in this kiln, which is to encourage you to do this, to have them. I'm actually not 100% sure that you even need them. The enemies don't look that bad. Obviously, I think having Hercules and Jean Grey is going to be a bit of a cheat code. It's probably going to be a lot easier to use them. But I don't know if it's like restricted that you need to use them in this. It doesn't seem that bad if you have alternative characters. Wave number 1 is Ares, Hela, and Gore. Wave number 2 has Zombie Iron Man, Zombie Juggernaut, and Zombie Scarlet Witch. So you do have the Undying trio here, and you would want to get rid of Hela. My guess is when you kill one person, the others are going to drop because they're very small waves. That's what it looks like here. So I would focus on Hela, so that they're not up when these guys drop down. And then wave number 3 is Kahori, Miss Marvel Classic, North Star, and Guardian. This could be a bit of an issue. This is maybe where you'd want to bring in Hercules, perhaps, because it would clear a variety of different buffs and things like that. I do want to kind of take a look at some of the characters and their stat modifiers. So Ares has just the HP modifier. Same with, who was that? Oh, that's Ares still. Was that 2? Hold on, was that 2 Ares? Or did I just scroll too fast? That was Ares. This was Hela. Oh yeah, sorry, no, my bad. I was just scrolling fast. Hela, Gore, and then wave 2, we have Zombie Iron Man, we have Zombie Juggernaut, nothing crazy yet. Zombie Scarlet Witch. Kahori has a 130% armor modifier and focus as well. And same with Miss Marvel Classic, North Star, and Guardian. So they don't have any speed set. Maybe it's just in that final node that I was taking a look at. So I don't know. Doesn't look that terrible. Let's take a look at floor number 20, though. This one's really weird. Like, the enemies that they have on this is pretty weird. Crystal, Black Bolt, Medusa. Okay, so they're going for some Inhumans thing. Icarus and Circe. Venom, for some reason. And Symbiote Spider-Man. So SSM is Symbiote Spider-Man, the old one. Captain America, Iron Man Infinity War, and Thor Infinity War. Okay? But this is where I saw something kind of funny. And so, this is Crystal here. You can see Crystal. Max HP, 3,025. This is, I believe, like 30x. 30x in the HP category. Her power score is 1.42 million. Now, she's a terrible character. But she has a speed modifier of 220, which does indicate that she's going to have a 220%, I believe, increase on top of her existing one. Right? If she had less, it would show negative, I'm pretty sure. And so she's going to be taking multiple turns back to back, which is pretty crazy. Her kits kind of sucks, but I mean, if you're taking like 3 turns, even from like an AI, this could hurt. Black Bolt is here and has a 525 HP modifier and a damage modifier of 145. Medusa also has an HP of 525 modifier and a damage of 145. We have Icarus, 325 HP modifier. No speed increases though. Circe, same thing, 325 HP, no speed stat increases here. We have Venom with a 325 HP increase. Symbiote Spider-Man, 325 as well. And then Captain America, 325 with an armor and focus of 130 increase. Iron Man Infinity War, HP 325. Thor Infinity War, same thing. Damage increase is 25%. They all have like a 25% damage modifier increase. But it's not that bad. So I guess I was kind of blowing out the speed thing a little bit out of proportion. But they do have some pretty crazy stat bumps in terms of the HP. And the floor 20 Crystal has just an insane amount of HP. It's kind of weird. But the enemies don't look that bad. There's no Mephisto. There's no Odin. There's no Apocalypse. There's no mythic characters that look. There's no Super Skrull. So it doesn't actually look that bad. And I almost would say that this floor 20 probably could be doable without Hercules and Jean Grey. That's just my personal thoughts. I think it'll just be like almost like an auto. Maybe if you do have it. Maybe not an auto, but you know what I mean. Like, it doesn't look that bad. The enemies aren't crazy. So it's a lot, I think, on the surface, it looks a lot easier than what maybe I anticipated it to be, given when we got Frozen Dimension was a lot of bullshit. So that's Kiln Forged in Fire, I think. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below after seeing all this, after seeing the enemies that are on the nodes. Maybe that can help prepare you for what characters you want to build. Pretty sure I already did a video on that, but just to kind of reiterate, and I'll do this one more time. A-Force, right? Again, I'm going to be using Wasp, Kahori, and Miss Marvel Classic. I already have them at purple 3. Also, I heard that there's going to be a Dimensions coming back that's going to use them anyways, again, on the same nodes. And then for X-Men, you know, there's a lot of options that you can really use. You can use Old Man Logan, right? I'm not even sure if you actually need to use Jean Grey. You could use Old Man Logan and Nightcrawler and Forge or Storm or whatever. There's Phoenix now. There's lots of options to choose from in the X-Men category that I don't think is going to be that hard. In the Avengers category, there is a little bit less, but you may have Hank Pym up. You'll probably have Falcon up as well. And don't forget that Jean Grey and Beast are also considered under the Avengers banner. Cap Sam has also been recently reworked, so you could use him as well. Storm too. So there's a fair bit to pick from here in this category alone. Also Hercules for me is down here. So yeah, lots of characters here to choose from that I don't think it's going to be super difficult for you to get through this. So I don't think there's more I need to say about KYLN Forged and Fire, but let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. That's going to be it for me. And until next time, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon, signing out.